Okay, so today's lesson is writing repeating decimals as fractions. And I know you've had some previous experience with writing decimals as fractions, but these are all going to be repeating. And so I'm going to show you a few different ways to do that. The first way is a little bit of a shortcut. It's anytime you have a repeating decimal where everything to the right of the decimal repeats. That means every number to the right of the decimal is under the bar notation. In that case, you can follow a little bit of a shortcut, and to do that, the numerator will be the same as the number under the bar notation. The denominator will be dependent on the number of digits that repeat. So if one digit repeats, the denominator will be 9. If two digits repeat, it'll be 99. And if three digits repeat, 999, and so on. So let's look at these two examples. Example number 1. Example number 1 has 0.2 repeating. So for that example, the number under the bar notation is 2. That's your numerator. The denominator is 9 because one digit repeats. And check and make sure your fraction is in simplest form, and 2/9 is in simplest form. So once you have that, you're finished. Example 2 here, 0.36 repeating. In this instance, the 36 is under the bar notation. That's your numerator. The denominator is 99 because there are two digits repeating. This fraction is not in simplest form, so we want to look at what is a common factor for 36 and 99, and that would be 9. So dividing your top by 9, you get 4. Dividing your bottom by 9, you get 11. So the fraction is 4/11. And those are pretty simple. That's a little shortcut method you can use for those. Method 2 that we're about to look at, it will work for the ones that we just did, but also the shortcut will work and be much quicker. But when you look at ones like number 2, if everything to the right of the decimal does not repeat, and sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you have a decimal and there is bar notation, but not everything to the right of the decimal repeats. In that case, I'm going to show you these 4 steps that will get you to the correct fraction that's equivalent. So let's look at example 1. 0.23 repeating, where only the 3 is under the bar notation. So step 1 says let x equal your repeating decimal. So you want to start by letting x equal the decimal that you are given. So 0.233 repeating. Step 2 says to multiply both sides of the equation by 10 to the nth power, where n is the number of repeating digits. In example 1, there's one repeating digit, so I'm going to multiply by 10 to the first power, which is 10. So 10x on that side. On the right side, if you multiply this decimal by 10, it moves the decimal one place to the right, which will make that 2.333 repeating. Then what you're going to do for step 3 is to subtract step 1 from step 3. So go back above. Step 1 was where you let x equal the decimal, and we're just going to go under and subtract that from what we have. And what's going to happen, 10x minus x is 9x. Over here on the decimals, 2 minus 0 is 2, 3 minus 2 is 1, and then all these other 3's that repeat, they're just going to drop off to 0. So you end up with 9x equals 2.1. Divide both sides by 9, because step 4 says to solve the equation for x and simplify. So we're going to divide both sides by 9. Now when we do that, we are going to have to simplify this. We cannot have a fraction with a decimal in it. So to do that, we need to get rid of the decimal on top. So let's move the decimal to the right one time, making that 21. And if you do that, you have to match it on the bottom and move the decimal to the right one time on the bottom and make that 90. Simplify. Let's divide top and bottom by 3. So 21 divided by 3 is 7, and 90 divided by 3 is 30. So the simplest form of my fraction is 7/30. One more example to look at is number 2 here. In this case, 0.216, where 16 is the only thing repeating. So let's do the same process. Let x equal the repeating decimal, 0.21616, ... Then we have 2 digits repeating, so we're going to multiply by 10 to the second power, which is 100. So 100 times x is 100x. Multiplying the decimal on the right by 100 would move your decimal 2 places to the right. So that's 21.61616 ... Then we're going to subtract the original step 1. So subtract x on this side and subtract 0.21616 ... on the right side. Subtracting that will give you 99x on the left. On the right side, you will get 21.4. So then we're going to divide both sides by 99 and simplify. And to simplify, we've got to get rid of that decimal on the top, so let's move our decimal 1 place to the right on the top. On the bottom, if you move it 1 place to the right, you get 990. We need to simplify this. To simplify this, the first thing I'm going to do is divide top and bottom by 2. And that will be 107 on top, and on the bottom 495. And that is in simplest form, so that is your fraction. There's one other method to converting repeating decimals to fractions, and that's to use your calculator. The calculators that you have this year will allow you to convert a decimal into a fraction, and that includes repeating decimals. You will do that by just entering the repeating decimal into the calculator. Make sure you carry the repeating digits all the way to the end of the screen, and then just hit the button combination that will convert it to a fraction, and it puts it automatically in simplest form for you. And that concludes today's lesson.